Hello, welcome back. I have a clipboard. I would have a pen, but it's over there and I don't need it. So, as we said, we left home with 98% from what I remember. I had 146 miles range and my car's odometer was 10244. As we said, we were driving to Gretna. When I arrived at Gretna, we had done 69 miles and the car said it had averaged there for that 5 miles to a unit. When I got there, I had 75 miles of range left and 52% of the battery. Now, it wasn't important to charge there, so therefore I wasn't worried when the charger wasn't working, but I just didn't stay as long as I would have. So we continued on to Dumfries and to the Chiltern Trust, which we'd been to before. We know the car could get there from home with the amount of power we put in it. We knew we could get there. When we got there and I pulled into the charger, I still had 40-mile range left. The thing comes is that I could not leave Dumfries with 40 miles range, because after that point, heading up towards Kilmarnock on the road that leaves Dumfries, there is not many chargers at all. It's a bit sparse, and although we passed through many little places with shops, there's no chargers at them. So therefore it is important that before I leave Dumfries I charge up. Now, I wasn't concerned in any way about the charger in Dumfries on the grounds that there is more than one of them. I have a choice, and even if I go to the more expensive ones, I still have a choice of more than one charger. The one at the Chiltern Trust is of course the cheapest. If I have to pay, then that is the cheapest one. The next one would have been in the town centre in a car park. They have another one in there. There's now one at Morrison's that's just gone in, and that's in the town centre as well. And that one would be I think it's a 35 pence one, because that's what Morrison's have now gone to. After that, there's the Instavolt at Costa, at the place where I stopped, where Tesco's is, just on the outskirts. So if you do the bypass, if you go left, you come into KFC and Costa and all of that lot. If you go right, then you come to McDonald's, and boy, the queue at McDonald's was horrendous. It's a good job I wasn't stopping, but there was that charger there. And if I went further back along the road and took another one of the junctions off, there is a Ballantyne's Instavolt one there, and of course that's 39 pence as well. So there is enough chargers there for me not to worry that if one doesn't work, I can go to a different company and hopefully that they should work. So there was a good 5-6 chargers in that area, so that's why that is the target to go to. From then we stayed a little longer. I put in a little more than I would have, but if I end up being charged for it, that's fine. But if I do get charged for it, then next time I will be a little bit more on the, yes, I know I can do it with less, so I will put less in. But for that charger, there is a minimum of £1.50 if you're going to get charged, and it's 15 pence a unit, so you have to put 10 units in. That's why I say 10 units, because I have to put 10 units in or I just get charged £1.50 anyway. So I actually put in 16.27, because you know how hard it is to stop it at any figure. So when I left, I had 116 mile range. No problem, that would easily get me to the caravan here. But then I would have nothing really, and I would have to charge up, which would be the day. But I didn't need to do. So I left with 80%. We continued to Kilmarnock, doing better miles. And so when I got to Kilmarnock, I had used about 50 miles of the range, but it's more than 50 miles from Dumfries to Kilmarnock to the point where I charge. When I arrived, I had 47% left, so plenty, totally safe. And because I was there a little closer, there is a couple more before that I could get onto if I needed, but I didn't. So it was straight to Kilmarnock, and you've seen what a nice charger that is if you watched the big long version of the road trip to get up here. I charged up all on the fast charger because I didn't have the time to wait 3 hours or whatever, so I just put on the fast. Up to 94%, it says 129 mile. I kept that 129 mile for quite some time driving along the road, so I think it was a little off. Got to the caravan, it said 122 miles left and 83%, so as you can tell that the top half isn't balanced in any way. 1% is not a fixed amount here, here and here on the battery, it does vary. So as we said, we did this and we did 175 mile. The car said it did 5.3 miles to each unit, so that's why I took the 175 divided by the 5.3 and came up with 33 units used. So that's 33 units of electricity to your house meter to make it easier, because I don't know why we need to use the kilowatt hours. Just say it's a unit, because if you put it into your house, then your clock meter goes 1 unit when you're putting it in, so why bother calling it anything else? It's technically the same measurement, give or take, just the wording. So if I had spent 25 pence a unit for all of that electricity that I put in, which is a reasonable an amount to just say it, because that's what Aldi's is, and quite a few chargers in Scotland are becoming 25 pence, that would have cost me £8.25. Normally on my LPG one, even though that was cheap, that would have cost me nearer to £15-16. So I calculated on the ranges I had when I got to chargers, and I started with 146. When I got to Chilton, which was the first charge, I had 40, so that's 106. Then I left Chilton with 116 and got to Kilmarnock with 66. That's another 50. Then I left Kilmarnock with 129 and got to the caravan with 122. The range display used is only 163 miles, but the actual distance travelled was 175 miles. Now, this is something that I'd like to bring up, because we keep hearing, oh yeah, it's fine, my car does 3.5 miles to a unit, it's no big deal, to have a car that only does 3.5 miles to a unit. My car doesn't do 3.5 miles. Proof. But the thing comes is that if my car did 3.5 miles on the same trip as what I've just done, it would read as follows: 175 miles divided by the 3.5, the miles that the car says it's doing. I would have needed 50 units of electricity instead of 33. At 25 pence would have cost me £12.50. So it would have cost me more by £4.25 just on this one trip to come here. If you have a less efficient car, this has to be really taken into account when you pick a car, because if you don't, then you might get a cheap car, but the running costs to put the electricity and the power into it will remove that over time. And you're going, well, that's not very much, is it? You know, it's yeah. But we're looking at 25 pence a unit. And it gets worse, the more expensive the units get, the bigger that bill will be. So, don't just go for a cheap car if it has really poor efficiency while driving. So, there you go. Down to earth figures, complete for that trip, 175-mile trip. Would have cost £8.25 if I was putting 25 pence in. Cost me nothing, because when I left home I had charged it on a free charger anyway. The charger, it done freeze, may or may not charge, don't know yet, but I think it may not. So therefore that's free, and the Kilmarnock one is free. So I got here and had distance left for the next day for driving. So with that, catch you on the next video.